As it turns out, Tommy had some unfinished business with Punk, having stolen from him once again. And as the team retreated to the van, Purpled and Punk came to confront Tommy. Things were not looking good for the new business, and if the team wanted a chance to escape, they had to think of something fast. And quickly, a plan began to form. Wilbur walked out of the van, stalling Purpled and Punk just long enough for Tommy to escape through the floor of the van into a cave. Shortly after, the two noticed and began to pursue him. Wilbur, confronted only by Tubbo, logged out of the game to buy some more time. Lastly, Fundy stayed in the caravan, along with Tubbo and Eric, another member of the SMP who had recently joined. The guards stood, awaiting Wilbur to rejoin. The pursuit of Tommy continued, and before long, they had found him. Tommy surrendered, being escorted to jail on half a heart. With the news of Tommy being captured, one of the guards, Tubbo, began escorting Fundy to jail as well for conspiring to help Wilbur and Tommy. All that remained in the van was Eric, the final guard standing between Wilbur and freedom. But in a surprising turn of events, Eric betrayed the other guards, choosing to help the enemy instead. And just like that, Eric was an ally of the business. Knowing he was safe, Wilbur logged back in and conspired with Eric to free Fundy and Tommy. Their plan to free Fundy was easy as he was still being escorted by Tubbo. Eric would convince Tubbo to let him finish the escorting of Fundy to court, where he would then bring Fundy to his house, allowing him to plant Wilbur the ingredients for an invisibility potion. And the plan would have worked. But when Fundy and Eric reached Fundy's house, Purpled was there. Little did they know he had been spying on them in their voice call the whole time, and knew Eric had betrayed them. He then quickly informed Sapnap of the news and requested him to come to Fundy's base as backup. While Sapnap was leaving for Fundy's base, he left Punk in charge of watching Tommy. As the two sat in the courthouse, they began to talk. And before long, Tommy had convinced Punk to help him escape. Tommy's plan was to have Punk draw the guards back to the courthouse and escape through a hole he dug in the back of his cell. This was perfect timing for Sapnap and Purpled, as Sapnap had just arrived at Fundy's base and the two guards began escorting Fundy and Eric to court. Tubbo, meanwhile, traveled back to the van to keep an eye on Wilbur. After Wilbur transformed the van from the potion brewing station it was to a hot dog van, Tubbo, with Wilbur's permission, investigated. Finding nothing out of the ordinary, Tubbo provided compensation of 10 gold for the disturbances they had caused earlier. And gold was one of the main materials he needed to make the invisibility potion. The plan was beginning to fall into place. Although it had hit some rough patches, there was still a solid chance of the prisoners escaping. And as the guards escorted Fundy and Eric back to court, Wilbur continued gathering the resources for the potions. Before long, the trial had started and they were running out of time to escape. Punk had been figured out and was thrown in jail with Tommy, and Purpled went off looking for Wilbur, who had just began brewing. With Purple gone and Wilbur about to be compromised, all four of the prisoners dug out of their cells and ran. Everyone was on the run. After some fighting, everyone decided it would be best to meet back at the van. And as they were coming back, Tubbo and Wilbur began to talk. After explaining his plans to Tubbo and talking of the injustice they had done to him and his accomplices, Tubbo decided to join his side. And just like that, with everyone safe in the van and a new member on their side, the businessmen had been through enough. They knew that the next time they logged on, they had to fight back. And Wilbur had an idea. One that would send the server into further chaos and begin one of the most famous stories on the SMP. The team would no longer be businessmen. They would be citizens of a new nation. They would begin a revolution.